You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 22nd day of October, 2019. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Let me put up a chart of the S&P 500 Emini Futures. We're a weekly chart today. How about that? We'll talk about it in a moment. If you can't see the chart, just go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. The benefit of using the software at CFRN, the link at CFRN to join the show, it also gives you access to the chat box. Now, we're able to monitor the chat box here on the site pretty good. I'm not able to, well, I multitask, but somehow I seem to neglect the YouTube chat box. So if you want to chat, use the link on our site to get logged in. However, if you don't want to chat, or if you're just away from the office, away from the desktop, Here's a nice little shortcut. Point your browser to wherever you are, whatever browser you have, no software to download. Just go to youtube.com/CFRN/live during the live broadcast, and there you will find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds, brought to you by the good folks at YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. Okay, if you missed the show yesterday, number one, great show. Number two, thanks to Diamond and Silk for making it a great show. They were here. The ladies are awesome. They were on fire. Next time they come on the show, I'm going to try and get them to tell us how they really feel. Yeah, they pretty much laid it on the line yesterday. Make no mistake. They believe what they believe, and they stand up for it. So I'm in the process right now of uploading to youtube.com/CFRN and to our blog and to Facebook and to Twitter and all the other places you might hang out, an excerpt of yesterday's show, which contains just the interview. So if you missed yesterday's show and you want to watch the whole show, you can certainly do that. And previous shows every single day going back years, you can do that anytime at youtube.com/CFRN. During the live show, to catch the live broadcast, you just throw a /live on the end of that web address I just gave you. And that will bring you right here, right now. So they did say they would be happy to come back, so we're going to certainly take them up on that. Okay, Michael, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, we did try that.
I don't think we ever used it. But anyway, we'll talk about it later. All right, guys.
Okay.
Weekly chart. Now, the swing low, the swing high on the daily and on the weekly, no secret, that's going to be the same. Okay? Here's daily. Here's weekly. So what's the point? That simplification. You're able to see more data at one time, but the truly important things, the things that you want to stand out, like this low put in back here on December 28th of last year. Here you have a low. Now that was the week of December 28th. This low was the week of June 7th. This low, week of August 9th. Okay? So if we reach back all the way to the swing low into December, and remember, December, right here, this is the worst December since 1932. And what's this right here? Oh, that would be an all-time historic high in the S&P 500 Emini Futures, okay? Which led to this December, which led to, you got it, a new all-time historic high, which led to this, which led to a new all-time historic high, which led to this. Right here, we were not able to take out that high, creating on the daily and the weekly chart a double top. Now a double top on the weekly is a little bit bigger deal than a top, than a double top on the daily. Okay, so we're cruising right here, market trying hard. This is what the weekly looks like. Here's what the daily looks like. Okay, swing high today, 30.14 and a quarter. To challenge this double top, we need to see about 30.25, 26. Okay, and then the all-time historic high, 30.32 and a quarter, based on the December contract numbers. So back to this weekly. Now, if we go from this swing low in December up to the all-time historic high, week of July 26th, using the Fibonacci price extension tool, not the retracement tool. We'll look at the retracement in a second, but the extension, the 38% Fibonacci extension on the weekly chart is 30.57. Okay. Now, because the S&P has a tendency to put in a new all-time high and then fail, either big or mediocre, it just has a habit of doing that. Now, you can't base future performance on past results, but you don't have much else to go on. So, if we were to keep with history, keep with tradition, looks to me like this 38 sitting here at about 53, 54. It looks like a pretty good place for us to take out the high, the all-time historic high, and roll over. Okay? Now, rollover can mean this, or this, or this. What would it mean if we do make it to the 38? Let's find out. Now we're going to use the Fibonacci retracements. That's probably something you're a little more familiar with. Okay? So from that low to that weekly high, right there. Now this is, we take out these highs, we take out this double top, we don't get stalled in the process, we actually make it here. We actually make it there. That's what we want to look at. Now keep in mind that these retracements are based on not current price, not previous swing high, but on that projected break and run and then get stopped in the tracks. Okay? So if that's how it plays out, if that's what the market delivers, then the shallowest possible Fibonacci retracement would be here at the 24, which would coincide with this previous swing low right here. That makes sense. If that's not enough, if we need a deeper retracement, then the 38 is below that. And that one looks pretty doable because we've got a swing high on the weekly, a swing high on the weekly, swing high on the weekly. That resistance just became support, support again, support again. Could it become support again? Certainly could. That's the one I'm going to keep my eye on. But before that happens, we need to see this play out. We've got to overcome this obstacle, the obstacle from last Thursday. We've got to overcome this obstacle, and then we see what happens here. Not going to rule out that this thing could just keep on trucking. Now, that's what John thinks. John has said a number of times that he thinks this time it's different, and that this time when we take out the high, we're just going to keep going. Hey, we're okay with either scenario because as futures traders, we can be long, we can be short, we can be long again, all in the same session, in the same hour, if that's what the chart dictates. Okay? All right, let me do this. I'm going to give you the numbers from around the world, cash markets, starting here in the US. After that, we'll go to Michael, get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. When he's finished with that, I'll be back at a little bit of news. We'll talk to John, of course. We'll take a look at the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. We'll take a look at the Logic 247 alerts from last night. And because we have so many people on the trial this week, I think last time I looked, we're in triple digits or something. I'm going to go ahead. I don't normally break out all of the zones until Thursday. CFRN partners and passport holders get the zones Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, in their inbox or in the private Telegram channel. And then I share them with the world every Thursday. Usually before we get to Thursday, I leak out one or two during the week that I think are pretty important. But today, I think this will be a CFRN first. I've already put them on the charts. So when I come back, we're going to look at all of this week's weekly trading zones on the chart for every market that we publish the weekly trading zones for. We've been publishing these zones since December 14th of 2009. So we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary of the weekly trading zones. The most amazing thing of all about them is that they behave, or price behaves around the zones today exactly like it was behaving back in 2009. I can account for every day, every week since December 14th of 2009. I can't speak to before that, other than I have looked at historical charts and I have run my formula, and guess what? Apparently, they've been working long before I discovered them, all the way back to the inception of the markets. I'm not just talking about the inception of the Emini Futures. I'm talking about the inception of the markets. And that's a long time. All right. So let me give you these numbers, pull in some fresh data. We'll get cooking here. All right. The Dow is up 77 points. NASDAQ is down 10. S&P 500 is up 5. And the Russell 2000 up about half a point. No movers, no shakers there. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 84 cents, trading 54.15 last. Now that's a gain of about 1.5%. Gold down $1, trading 14.8710 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 56 points. Shanghai posted a gain of 14, and the Hang Seng finished the session up 60 points. In the European markets at the close, FTSE posted a gain of 48, DAX up 6.5, the CAC up just over 9. No movers, no shakers there. That gives us a green day in Asia. It gives us a green day in the UK. And so far here in the US of A, we have a mixed day just because of the NASDAQ. Everything else is green. The Russell's barely green. And the NASDAQ barely red, down almost 10 points. Okay. Alrighty. Let's go to Michael, get that recap of everything that happened this morning, and I'll be back.
Here we go. All right. You should be looking at my screen. And let me pop out the question box. There we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd day of October, 2019. Over here, what you're looking at, I'm going to be looking at, there we go, is the homepage at CFRN.net. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Right here it says apply.cfrn.net. If you click on that, you'll be brought to this page, the Emini Trading School.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and you can tell us your biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training specifically for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link. Okay, let me just make sure that it goes to that page. Still, because something had messed up. Yeah. Okay. We can go directly to eminitrainingschool.com. Okay, go directly to eminitrainingschool.com. Yep, and that's down. Okay. There we go. Now it's back. Okay, hold on. We're having inclement weather. So it could have something to do with it. Anyway, you can go directly to eminitrainingschool.com and fill out the form there. Or you can email us at support@cfrn.net right now. email's working, but eminitrainingschool.com is apparently not. You can go there and it's ridiculous. You can go there and fill out the form, or just email us at support@cfrn.net if you want to take a free trial. Okay, and I'll get you all the information you need. All right, well, that's frustrating. Okay, let's get back over here then to the spreadsheet, because I know that's working. All right, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 22nd day of October, as I said earlier, of 2019. Today we had 2 stop outs in the euro and 1 break even. We were minus 16 ticks there. On crude, we were plus 32 ticks, and on the ES, we had 1 trade, 1 stop out. So we're minus $100 on the ES. That put us at plus 120 on the morning session. Today it took 13 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 11 trade opportunities this morning. So on the month now, we're at $2,172. That's over 16 days, averaging $135 per day. On the year, we're at $30,603. That's over 191 days, averaging $160 per day. $160 per day. Now, okay, let's get into what we did and didn't do. Now, I missed a bunch of trades here on gold. I missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I got 1 break even. 1 break even on gold, which is, I don't know why I ended up missing these. I must have been doing something else at the time. But and then during the break, there was really nothing. Really nothing there during the break. Okay. On the euro, right here is where we started out on the euro. We got a break even there. Then we stopped out there, pretty much to the tick. And then we stopped out here. And that one actually kept going in the opposite direction. During the break, there was really nothing during the break for the euro. Okay. On crude oil, that's where we ended up making our money today. We had, go back here. All right, on crude, we started out with plus 7 on that trade, then plus 3 right there. That's where we got the goal for the day. Then we had a break-even trade. Then I missed a short here. That would have been positive. A long here. That would have been positive. And then I got 30 ticks out of this one right here. And that put us at plus 40. Plus 40 on the session. I stopped out here. That put me back down to plus 32. And that's where I ended up the session. Plus 32. There was a nice trade here that I missed. Then I said it was going to retrace some of that big leg up. I was saying that in the room this morning. And right over here were a couple of opportunities to jump in on that retracement during the break. There's one here, and one here. And that was pretty much it. Okay. Now the ES has been in and out of this weekly trading zone all day. It's just been sticking to it. We took 1 trade on the ES this morning. It was right here, and we stopped out because it went right back up to the weekly trading zone. And there was nothing during the break on the ES. Okay, so let's go back here to the spreadsheet. Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 22nd day of October, 2019. Today we lost 16 ticks in the euro, made 32 ticks in crude, and we lost 8 ticks on the ES. Put us at plus 120 on the morning session. Today it took 13 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took 11 trades this morning. On the month now, we're at 2,172. That's over 16 days, averaging 135 per day. On the year, we're at 30,603. That's over 191 days, averaging $160 per day. Okay. Now, let me see if that page is back up yet. It doesn't appear to be. Okay. So, if you want to take a free trial, just email us at support@cfrn.net. Support@cfrn.net. Okay. And just put free trial in the header, and I will give you all the information you need to take the free trial. As eminitrainingschool.com is not functioning right now. Okay. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Hey, Val, get a hold of Megan, please, and have her fix that. Thank you. Alrighty, let's jump from... Oh, I said I had a little bit of news. Let me give you that. A little bit of news. Out of Rockdale, Texas, in the concrete and iron shell of a mostly abandoned Alcoa aluminum smelter, Chinese and Canadian executives in business suits mingled with local residents in cowboy hats and baseball caps. Sounds like Texas. They assembled just outside the town of Rockdale in the central Texas countryside to celebrate the opening of a new Bitcoin mining plant constructed by Beijing-based Bitmain, the world's largest manufacturer of computers designed specifically to mine cryptocurrency. County Judge Stephen Young, the top elected official in rural Milam County, kneeled to snap photos. Tao Wu, an Arizona-based Bitmain executive sporting a thin bolo tie, gave a tour to curious local residents and journalists, shouting over the whirring of thousands of cooling fans. The mayor, John King, told the entourage during a ribbon-cutting ceremony, there's going to be jobs, there's going to be revenue, we're going to see great things coming in the future. Many of the locals on the tour had little, if any, idea how Bitcoin mining even works or even what Bitcoin is. Said one person in the tour, how do I monetize that? It's not tangible. Texas, long known for its bountiful commodities, from cotton to crude oil, is now drawing a new breed of speculators in search of Bitcoin, invented just a decade ago. And you probably heard about it first here on this radio show, if you've been a long-time listener. Bitmain says its operation in the state, which is flush with cheap electricity and plenty of space, represents an alluring opportunity, especially after prices for the cryptocurrency more than doubled this year to about $8,200. In 2018, the company inked a deal with local officials to set up a bank of computers inside the Alcoa plant to mine Bitcoin. Thousands of processing units run 24 hours a day, sending trillions of numbers per second via the internet to mine Bitcoin. The configuration has roughly the height and width of a railroad boxcar, but it extends in length for 3 football fields. Bitmain declined to disclose the cost to build its new facility or the total Bitcoin it will produce, but it did reveal that the plant during its initial phase will use 25 megawatts of electricity. Now if that sounds like Greek, it's not. But if you don't know what a megawatt is, 25 megawatts of electricity is about the same amount as the power required to light up 20,000 average U.S. households. Now, the company says it plans to build out the plant to use 50 megawatts, and that eventual capacity could reach 300 megawatts making it the world's largest Bitcoin mine. Cryptocurrency industry officials familiar with the technology say a 50 megawatt Bitcoin mine would cost about $80 million to $100 million to build, using the rated specifications on Bitmain's Antminer S17 Pro mining computer, along with the website Crypto Compares Mining Profitability Calculator. The Rockdale facility could generate an estimated $73 million of revenue per year based on current prices. The only main input for these mines is electricity, and among U.S. states, Texas has the fourth lowest power cost for industrial customers. The project was initiated last year, then shelved in early 2019 this year after Bitcoin prices tumbled roughly 75% from their 2018 highs. As prices rebounded this year, Bitmain rushed to start up production. Clint Brown, 54, a former construction contractor who now serves as a Bitmain project manager, said once the price turned around, we ramped up, and it was like, hurry up, we need to get this done. The New Texas facility is Bitmain's largest ever mining project to date. The company's managing director for marketing, Bill Zhu, said in an interview under a shady tree outside the nearby Rockdale Country Club, the company's signature product is its line of Antminer computers. Officials said the new Rockdale site is named Dory Creek after the ant genius Dorylus, which includes driver ants from southern Africa. Zhu responded to a concern expressed by some local residents that the new facility might quickly be shuttered if the Bitcoin market suffers a downturn. People in these parts are all too familiar with commodity cycles. The project has caused a stir in Rockdale. There's a population there of only 5,600, which was hit hard in late 2008 when the giant Alcoa smelting facility closed down, leading to the loss of more than 1,000 jobs. This past Friday morning, a group of former Alcoa workers assembled for morning coffee and breakfast at Lee's Landing, a diner where the walls are adorned with country implements, including a pitchfork and a set of stirrups, only in Texas. Sign in the bathroom reads, "Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll sit in a boat and drink all day." Let me show you a picture of this thing, or these folks. Hang on. Here's the main guy from Bitmain. We have a bigger picture up there. Here we go. And there they are under the shade tree in Texas, wearing cowboy hats, talking about Bitcoin. Not Holstein cows, not prize-winning thoroughbreds. Bitcoin. Most of the people attending this meeting didn't understand what the plant would do, or even what Bitcoin is. But in a sleepy town of 5,500 in Texas, who just lost its largest employer, remember there's a total population of 5,500. When the Alcoa plant closed, 1,000 jobs were lost. Was that about 20% of the workforce?
Yeah, that's about it.
So, all right, that's the little bit of news we've already
John's
covered.
in.
John's here? All right, guys.
Yeah.
As soon as we finish talking to John, we're going to hit the Concierge Trade Alerts. We're going to go market by market, S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, Gold, Crude, the whole shebang. We'll look at the Logic 247, get you up to date on that, where we stand for the week. And all the zones that you see on the charts today, unlike most weeks, even though it's only Tuesday, those are the current weekly trading zones that went to partners and passport holders Monday morning, yesterday, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. John, welcome to the show. Let me get your mic open.
It's
You
open.
got an open mic, John. All right, so we'll get cooking, and John will pop in when John pops in. Okay? All right, let's back up to Sunday night. Globex open, and that was right there. Right there. That big green candle. October the 20th, 1800 hours. Just put a little arrow there. Okay. So we opened up right into a weekly trading zone, consolidated, for about an hour and a half, give or take. We then moved higher. When price is consolidating in a zone like that, that is the equivalent of the market making up its mind. The market is assessing the current order flow. Do I got more buyers? Do I got more sellers? If there are more buyers, when this process is taking place here, the consolidation, if the final analysis says we got more buyers than sellers in the order flow, this is the result. Price rarely travels in a straight line, at least not for very long. It has a tendency to do this. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace. Get the idea? Okay. So we put in the leg and we retraced back to the weekly trading zone. When we approach a zone from above, as we did here, we expect it to be good support. When we approach from below, we expect it to be good resistance. Now, only three things happen at a weekly trading zone. The most likely, I just explained to you, is consolidation. That's what you're going to see most of the time. The market gets to a zone, pauses, rolls sideways, assesses the order flow, and then continues the journey. Price is always trying to get somewhere. From the moment the markets open Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, until they close Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, price is on the move, even when it's going sideways, consolidating, making up its mind. It's on the move. It's trying to get somewhere. Now, if you could somehow figure out not what's going to happen next, because we don't have the ability to know the future. No one does. Not man, not machine, not algorithm, not nothing, not no way, not no how. I know a lot of websites and emails that you get try to convince you that somebody has finally cracked the code. They found the secret and they can predict the future, but it's an illusion. The best anyone can do is to have a high probability idea of what the next move will be. So imagine if you were able to do that, if you were able to determine at any given time what the next high probability move is in the market, would that be of great value? Perhaps it would. Okay. Once price launches out of this zone after the consolidation, okay, it starts to do this, we know. We know what the market is trying to do. It's trying to get to the zone overhead. We also know that price rarely travels in a straight line. So we get a leg and a retracement. Now, on this retracement, notice we did not touch the zone. The zone's at 88/89, the swing low right here. 89.5. So 2 ticks, a 2-tick miss, okay? Once we complete that retracement, which if you wanted to draw fibs, you could. Spike the 50% Fibonacci retracement. Almost touched the 62, which is hiding right there at the zone. Okay. That you, John?
Yeah, hi.
All right, guys, we'll pick up where we left off right here on the S&P 500 E-mini chart. John, welcome to the show. What would you like to look at?
Thank you. Well, anyway, just wanted to say it was a good show yesterday. I think it went off pretty well. It was just about the right length, and I think we actually covered quite a bit of ground in it.
Yeah, we did. They're very smart ladies. And The lady on the one on, I don't have their names memorized.
Lynette is diamond, and Rochelle is silk.
Well, on television, one of them tends to do most of the speaking.
That's diamond.
But they were both on fire yesterday.
Yeah, and I might be the first show where they've actually been called by their real names.
Well, it's possible.
Maybe I think they were a bit taken aback when I called them their names. They kind of like maybe didn't know how to handle it because they're kind of so. The moniker, if you like, is pretty ingrained in everybody's mind, if you like, you know. So, but it's they're very successful. I mean, you know. They got pretty much frequent visit to the White House and getting the royal treatment. It's pretty impressive. Coming out of nowhere and building up a following like that. And this Terrence Williams guy is another sort of success story in that genre. And he's sort of risen to greatness very rapidly. Got about 750,000 following, or 600,000-700,000 following. They've got a pretty big following. I think they got multi-million following, or at least 1 million on Twitter. Unfortunately, Trump's approval rating is still stuck at 45, which is kind of the worst reading he's had in a while. I hope it bounces back up because I think that's kind of important. The markets. I want to sort of, I've been saying this for a while. They're not acting bearish. As a matter of fact, there's a few stocks that are acting a little bit negative today. I'll go through those in a minute. But the way the S&P clawed its way back higher today, starting to break out towards all-time highs, is pretty impressive. The Dow, which was a dog yesterday, is actually reversed thanks to FedEx and Boeing. And
did Boeing turn around today?
It did. It's up. Yeah, it's not up dramatically, but it's up. And so is Federal Express. These are two key down components. What's not going so great today, and is a little bit of a warning sign. And by the way, the mid-cap also is doing well, is the NASDAQ. And probably the semiconductors as well, a bit negative. The NASDAQ, the main leaders in the NASDAQ today, a lot of them opened higher and sold off. Netflix in particular looks particularly bad. Once again, the pharmaceuticals are acting really well today.
Here's a chart of Netflix on it daily.
Yeah, you see that the way a few days ago it opened higher and has been selling off. That's not very good action. If you want to put Roku up for a minute, this is look at that huge gap. First of all, look at that huge gap.
Which one?
With Netflix back there in August, right? July, sorry.
Oh, this one.
July.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
an earnings. That was an earnings gap. It looks like.
Yeah, and then something may have come out here with earnings too, because look at the open higher, sold off, not very good. Now, if you look at Roku, I think Roku started selling off around the same time as Netflix got smashed.
There's a Roku on a daily.
Oh, a little bit later. So actually, but think about Roku. Right now, it's just sold off a little bit this morning. Open higher, sold off. Could do a flag, and so we could continue higher. It's been a very, very strong stock. However, if Roku starts turning down from here, that would be pretty bad. If you start breaking below 120, 110, it probably means we could almost have a measured move. So we lost $80 almost down to 100. So we could possibly lose a big chunk from 140 maybe down to 60 or something like that. It could happen. So that would be a very profitable trade if it works out. The Facebook, same thing, open higher this morning. Facebook, Amazon, Google, they're all looking a bit vulnerable. which bothers me a bit, because if something bad happens, which could happen at any time, it could turn these, the whole sector, the whole market down, actually. So, and what you were saying yesterday about possibly just making a nominal new high and maybe failing again, you can't rule that out either. So, but remember last year we were getting shellacked during this period. So the odds of us doing the opposite this year are higher than normal. Certainly not a guarantee, but a fairly, a reasonable probability. And really we've been doing that. Every dip is sort of getting bought, continuing to be bought. But there are some subtle signs. Have a look at Adobe, ADBE.
ADBE?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that. What brought that to your attention today? I haven't heard you mention that
I'm
before.
just looking at the leadership. See, this is a stock that was up pretty, peaked in July, August, and it just can't get it. It's been on. This thing was almost invincible. If you take up the history, it was an unbelievable winner. This stock, and now it's sort of suffering from kind of a death of a thousand cuts.
This company sort of set the gold standard for audio editing, video editing and publishing, graphic design. I mean, they have a lot of really great tools. They're high-end tools that there's quite a learning curve with their tools, and they're quite expensive. And a lot of companies have brought to market similar products that are simpler to use and cost a heck of a lot less.
Well, this may be eating away at Adobe right now, gradually. If you could squeeze it up and have a look at the larger picture, you got a little island top there that's very ominous, and we're breaking down towards new lows. That little island,
this little guy right here.
Yeah,
Exactly. 2
exactly.
feet up in the air.
And then if you take the top of it, that's almost an island top in of itself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, but it has been an incredible performer. I mean, this came from way down in the low double digits, I think, and it's just been going up ever since the bull market sort of got the. I mean, look at it; it's just been amazing.
Yeah, let's roll it back to. Let's just see monthly how far this thing goes back. So we got data back to, looks like 1987.
Yeah. So
but the .com sent it up to about $42, and interestingly, even after the .com crash, it did not, return. This thing was a $2 stock at one point. The stock was under $1 at one point.
Yeah. So it's really had an incredible performance, but right now it's in trouble, and it's sort of like this is a major component that gets looked at, and so it's a sign of trouble ahead when you see this. Sometimes the disk drive makers tend to lead the market down, and also the gamblers, the casino stocks like Wynn.
Right.
They're very sensitive. If Adobe has another leg up, then Katie bar the door. We're going to have a huge bull market. And that could happen. One final kind of a run.
Yep. It's I can see a $20 sell-off here. We find some support. And make another run at 280. It'd be a nice trade, 240 to 280.
Yeah. The other thing that's going on is that have a look at Intercept, ICPT.
We haven't looked at that in a while.
Yeah.
What's happened? These companies that have settled on this opioid crisis deal, they're paying, I forget how many million, to just a couple of counties, I think in Ohio, that were hit pretty hard. And they entered into these agreements prior to the actual trial starting on Monday. That's going to set a precedent for every other city, state, county across America and beyond, potentially, that want to bring suit against these guys.
Yeah. You know, the way Intercept is going right now, having sort of tested that $50 area, didn't quite get down there, and it's starting to look a little bit brighter. You know, you could see a big remember, this is just a meteoric situation in before, and what it tells me, the fact that we've gone up in the last few weeks from the high 50s to the high 60s, it's quite a big move percentage-wise. Tells me that there's some sort of positive development going on. You know, the downtrend is being arrested, and it looks like there's considerable upside ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely finding some support here. You know,
Yeah.
we can, the stair-step effect. I mean, we can see pretty clearly the obstacles it'll have to overcome on the way back up.
Yeah. The gold and silver, you know, they keep knocking it down, but it doesn't seem to follow through to the downside. You know, we got this flag here that I actually sent you a few charts this morning that were kind of interesting, showing the potential for gold to really rocket higher for some reason we don't know yet. But you know, it could be Lagarde is
charts up, John?
Yeah, Lagarde is about to take over. See, look at that today. We've got a little doji there. So if that holds, and then tomorrow we have some kind of an up move into the end of the week, that could be enough to really rock this thing higher. And I'm noticing that the dusts are running into a bit of trouble, and the gold stocks are getting a little bit of support down here. One way to kind of handle this might be to put some buy stops above the gold stocks themselves, just to capture an up move, because I think when it happens, it could be very pretty fast, and it might run away to the upside. So I'm gonna
save these images so that I can pull them up on the screen.
Okay.
Well, here, maybe I can do it this way. Let's see. Are you concerned if your email address is exposed?
Probably, yeah. I think we'll keep that out for a moment. Maybe you can crop them for the maybe tomorrow we can look at them if something, if you can figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, I'll do it while we're talking.
Okay, thanks. So, by the way, the pound and co are rallying. You know, we said we thought the markets might rally a bit today. The currencies, they're starting to do that.
Did the pound turn around?
Dollar, yeah, the dollar's heading down again. Dollar's right there at 97 now. It's at a very critical point. And the pound, pretty much just under 130, just consolidating right now. I think there's some sort of a possible vote going on today as well. That might be happening any minute.
Let me bring up the pound here while we're talking about it. Okay, let's do it differently. Let's go to 6B. Okay, and there we go. Daily on the pound.
Looks pretty strong, right?
It does, yeah.
You know, almost begging to go higher. So it's more than likely.
Monthly.
I mean, right, monthly, weekly, anyway you look at it, it's pretty big. And generally, when you get that kind of a move of that magnitude, the likelihood of it following through are pretty high, you know, pretty high to the upside. And you know, boy, this is an epic. I mean, this is a major double bottom here. And the higher we go, I think the stronger we get with the pound. So
I got these gold charts here. Let me open the first one. Oh, it opened on my other screen, so let me drag it up. And Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, look at this flag here, and look at the head and shoulders at the bottom. It's really, he had a 1520 target. This is Norseman guy. This, got to 1566, I think, according to him. As you remember, we said, when it got to 1550 and 1950, we said, be careful, take the gains, but you can see how this, I mean, look, could we go all the way down to low end of the range there, maybe 1460, 1450? You can't rule it out. Would kiss the top of the previous consolidation, and then it could go like a rocket. So, and it may be all related to this impeachment thing, because I think if they really go there, it's probably going to cause a lot of anxiety, and the market could definitely succumb to a downturn. And here, when you look at this chart, you get a sense of how easily this thing could go back to the highs, to this 1900, 2000 area. And probably, it's one of these things where it probably could get up to 2000, maybe marginally over, and that might be it for a while, or it could go all the way to 22 or even 2400. Because I think this base and the sort of measured moves, and you get through that double line resistance there, you start getting up around 1700, 1800. I mean, it's just begging to go and test the highs. And the dollar, if we can look at the dollar in a minute.
Sure, whenever you're ready.
And actually look at the last time we went to an overbought situation. Like, this is one of the things he's pointing out that caused this.
So this one over back here, or the one we just had.
Yeah, look at the rebounds you had. When you got knocked down from 1900 to 1600, there was some incredible trading opportunities there in that time frame, and we haven't seen it yet. But the ranges, we start getting up into that 17 to 1900, maybe 2000 type range. You could see some pretty spectacular developments similar to what we saw before, or much larger, that it takes us into the 2000s.
Right.
So I think the gold is very opportunistic here. I think what I would do is I'd watch, look, the stocks. I had a look at one of the gold stocks this morning, and it did look like it could go down a bit more. I think it was a nugget, actually.
Here's silver.
Yeah, the same with the silver. I mean, when that silver goes, I think it's going to be crazy. You can almost see a kind of a parabolic upside. And in a way, look at what happened before. I mean, the last time we broke through 20, we went to 50, pretty fast.
Yeah,
So
sure
and this time, certainly looks like about 35. Who knows? It could go way higher than 50. It's you can't rule anything out. So
high that day was, or high that month was 49.83.
Yeah, because I think if gold goes to 21, even though we've said that if gold goes to 2400, and this is capped by 50, that would be our theory, where we have a triple 50 top, and then later, and maybe a sort of handle, a little cup handle kind of pullback, maybe to 35 or 40, and then one day we go through 50, and once you go through 50 a fourth time, forget about it. I think you're in a whole new world, heading towards 100. So that would be pretty incredible if anything like that happens.
Here's the dollar. You said you want to take a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's really, it's beginning to look like it's in a lot of trouble, and it's kind of like the opposite of the pound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you can look at the weekly,
sure. There you go.
See, there's a little kind of a doji there. You know, when that breaks and there's another leg down, then you're really starting to feel, you know, something different, something you know, start hitting new 52-week lows.
Support around 96, then support
Right.
94. You know, if we take out 93, this thing could free fall down to 90 before it finds any support.
I think 80, you know, 88, 85 could really happen. And who knows, you know, this this European breakup may actually be what nobody sees coming, which is, you know, where the European, look, Lagarde, if Lagarde goes in and does, she's not, you know, she's pretty smart. She's very
Has
experienced.
she taken office yet?
She's about to.
Okay.
And the, you know, if she starts boosting the European economy in the way we expect, and maybe reverses this negative interest rate thing, which, you know, probably happen with her at the helm. Yeah, as I said, the day that we go from minus interest rates to zero, I think you can buy the world, because that'll be a very powerful signal that the world economy is back on the up and up. And the, you know, the bonds are gradually dropping here, indicating a slightly stronger economy. They haven't really tanked yet, but the funny thing is about
here's December 30-year
look
on
at
a
it.
weekly.
Yeah, I mean, boy, if there's two choices here, we're either gonna, you know, reverse up and make new all-time highs in bonds in a super weak economy, or some, you know, a recession potentially, or this thing's going to break down and there's no support. You're probably going to go back to 145, and that's a very, very strong economy if that happens.
Let's see, ZBZ. So here's what we're looking at intraday. That's a 30-minute chart.
Yeah.
And let me take a look and see what the Concierge Trade Alert was last night for bonds. Considering short, 159.04. So we got no trigger. Oh, it looks like we walked right up to the trigger.
Yeah, and you know, look, if we did run into trouble,
We went two ticks below the trigger. And on the flip side, the long side for bonds was 159.26. So there you have it. That kind of, let's see, about right here. Yep, right there, 159.26. So we poked above it, back below the trigger, triggered again. It looks like we may make another run at it here. There's two dojis up there. Interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, from the bond standpoint, we're at a pretty critical time here. And I guess the market too, because, you know, if we turn down from here in all the sectors, it's really not going to be good, you know, because we're at a point where I think a downturn, you know, if we negate all the recent upside in the last week or two, that would be a problem. And you're seeing it already in some of the leaders, you know. Even Microsoft is turning down today, which is, you know, look, when all these major stocks are turning down, it's going to drag the market down with it.
Do you think, John, do you think this week we see a new all-time historic high?
Well, look, you've got it's a very what's the word? I mean, look, when you look at that chart, what happens if Microsoft beats expectations?
Do they report this week?
I don't know when they're going to report,
Okay.
but
Did they already
you know,
report?
if they suddenly gap higher,
They report tomorrow. It looks like.
yeah. Well, if they suddenly gap higher, you know, everything changes. So I think, you know, that's it's very difficult because you had IBM that got smashed earlier, like last week, to a very pretty significant degree. We haven't seen IBM at 135 for a while. Microsoft there, I mean, you look at the chart, if we break down, it's not good. I think you'd agree.
Well, we often talk about building a base at the bottom after a sell-off. This almost looks like the reverse of building a base. Maybe building a top here. And you're right. If they beat earnings, we could take out. I mean, these highs have been in place since July. This is the daily chart. Let me bump it up to weekly. All right, look at that. And that's some pretty consolidated market movement there.
Yeah.
Those who day trade Microsoft can't be too happy with that. But go ahead.
Twitter.
That's weekly.
Turning down. Amazon.
When I went to bed last night, I had no packages on my doorstep. This morning, at 5 a.m., I had packages on my doorstep. Now, I know Amazon's doing some things with their delivery service, but they used to stop delivering about 8 o'clock at night. Do you know if they've gone to some kind of around-the-clock delivery model?
I saw a thing...
Same day. I saw a thing the other day.
There's a thing that CNN did not so long ago called the something of Amazon, the world of Amazon or something like that. And boy, it's quite a documentary. I think it's about 2 hours long. Or just put CNN Amazon documentary, probably come up.
The Age of Amazon.
The age of Amazon. That's the one. Yeah. It's a fascinating documentary, and how they're so big now that. By the way, it's kind of interesting. You get all these Democrats. They keep. What's the word? Complaining and targeting all these companies where people don't pay taxes. One of the reasons Amazon didn't pay any tax recently is because they spent, are you ready for this? $210 billion in buildings and just growing the company over just a few years. So the point is, would you rather than pay $1 billion or $2 billion in taxes, or spend $200 billion?
Yeah, that's plus, a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. And this, when they were
have you seen this? I saw this the other day. We haven't talked about it. Amazon is shipping expired food, from baby formula to old beef jerky, scaring consumers, putting big brands. They did their first drone delivery. Walgreens did their first drone delivery the other day. What was it somebody ordered? Was it cough drops? Hang on. We'll go. Amazon is, what is this about? Amazon's marketplace has grown to millions of sellers, making it hard for the company to adequately police the platform. Okay. Because I don't know if everybody knows this, but a lot of the merchandise that you buy on Amazon, it's not really sold. It's sold under the Amazon umbrella, but there's Joe Smith Incorporated. He has a product, and he warehouses it at an Amazon facility. Amazon takes care of the shipping, the billing, the payment processing, all of that. So if Joe Smith Incorporated, sends in a pallet to be stored at the Amazon warehouse, and in the middle of that pallet there's some expired product, probably nobody's ever going to catch it or notice it. I think that's what they're talking about here.
Yeah. What they were saying in this age of Amazon was they were getting deliveries down to an hour in some places, which probably explains your early morning delivery deal.
Alphabet's
the other thing
Wing begins first commercial drone delivery service in U.S., beating Amazon and Uber. That was 2 days ago. I'm not familiar. Look at that.
it's more like a plane, that thing.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it is.
So, yeah.
Wing, an offshoot of Google parent company Alphabet, officially launched its drone delivery service Friday, delivering a FedEx package. I heard about that. A birthday gift through the air from a distribution center to the couple's home in Christiansburg, Virginia. Wing was the first company to receive Federal Aviation Authority approval for door-to-door drone delivery. Now, somebody got the first drone delivery. Drone Walgreens. There we go. Drones from CVS and Walgreens are finally here, and they're bringing Band-Aids. Pharmacies will soon be flying drugs directly to you. On Monday, UPS announced it's partnering with CVS to launch drone delivery for the pharmacy, where drones will carry both prescriptions and other convenience products to people's homes. UPS, I wonder if they're going to, I bet they won't, I bet they don't deliver controlled substances this way. That's just too dangerous. That's too risky. I mean, what if it drops the package over a schoolyard or something? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be very dangerous. UPS is currently working with the FAA on possible locations for the program. The news followed an announcement last week that Walgreens would begin offering drone deliveries in Christiansburg, but they did. The pharmacy will not be sending prescription drugs through the air yet. Okay, well, that makes sense. Here's another look at that thing. Now, I wonder what the cost, you know, let's say they got to go 5 miles, you know, from the pharmacy to the house and back, and you're deadheading back. There's no way to pick up a package and ferry it back to, you know how truckers do. You got a long haul trucker. If he takes a load across America, and his dispatcher is hooking him up with some kind of load on the other side of the country so that he doesn't come back with an empty trailer. I see of no way to do that with this, and I don't know what the delivery range or area is. Yeah, first, let's see. Is this it? Walgreens test drone delivery in Virginia. Skies over Christiansburg witnessed the first trial at Walgreens, last Friday. Walgreens will offer quick, convenient delivery of some of their most sought-after
we're expensing it anyway,
wellness,
right? So I'm...
health and wellness, food and beverage convenience items. I just wonder how cost effective this is. I mean, once you pay for the drone and you don't damage the drone, I mean, the only cost there is electricity, correct? To charge it up. They do fly on battery power, correct? John?
I guess so, yeah.
Wing drones fly at 70 miles an hour, can carry a 3.3 pound package.
That's pretty fast.
A range, yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking. A 3.3 pound package, a range of 12 miles round trip. Onboard software helps the aircraft understand its surroundings, process information, and even monitor its own health and performance in real time. I'd like to see this thing, I'd like to see it drop off the package. I wonder if that's what this is going to be right here. I think it is. It's only a minute and 27 seconds. Let's jump up to the drone taking off. Little cardboard package. So I guess they can take I don't know. I wonder if they take multiple packages at one time. Wow, did you see that? How it just snapped right up in there? Here it goes. Yeah, you know, looking up into the sky, and this is going to be something right out of the Jetsons. Here we go. Now let's see how, whoa, look at that. It just plops it down. Amazing. We are living in the Jetsons age. We really are. All right, what do you want to look at now?
Let's look at Google right now.
Google, all right.
Yeah, again, the thing with Amazon there is it's kind of, we're really at a critical point because something's going to give here. We're either going to break out to the upside.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Google certainly looks like it could do that.
And their earnings, it looks like, are due on the 28th.
Yeah. When are Amazon earnings due out?
Let's see. Amazon, they already had theirs on the 14th.
Oh, okay. So, very little movement.
Yeah. Let's maybe go to the daily and see anything. Okay, so earnings. Wait a minute. Now I'm on the daily chart. It's telling me the 24th, which is Thursday.
So this could be a big week by the end of the week. Obviously, look, if one of these misses, that would be a problem.
Especially if it's a big miss. I mean,
take a look at we haven't looked at banking stocks for a while. Let's look at JPM.
The bad boy of banking. Wow. He's got the goose that lays the golden egg.
Yeah.
Jamie Dimon.
So, and the other one is, I haven't looked at this for a while either, is Nexstar NXST.
What do these folks do?
Media. They own a lot of TV stations.
Okay.
A huge grower. Look at the history of this stock is unbelievable. I think it's gone from zero to literally. And it kind of looks pretty bullish, like it's going higher. And of course, in an election year, it's probably going to do really well.
Back to 2004.
Yeah.
It's never seen a really bad sell-off.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it did trade. If this is when it went public, I mean, it did trade for like for a few years. It traded below the IPO price. If that's the IPO price right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously gave folks a cause for worry. But then once it took out the first data point that we have, it's been a pretty successful story. Leg and retracement and leg and retracement, and it looks like it's ready to take another leg.
Yeah, we haven't looked at Tilray for a while. TLRY.
Now that's the pot stock.
Be careful
ran
this.
up. Yeah. What did it run up that one day? About $300. Yeah, it ran up $200.
And I said to be careful of it. At $40 or $50.
No. That was sage advice.
Look what happened since. It might be. I think it's getting close to a bottom here. This stock actually.
Now we understood this to be irrational exuberance, to borrow a phrase, but I mean, it really got hammered. Did they make a mistake? Did they miss earnings? Any idea what happened?
No. This was just blown out of proportion. This thing was on the way up.
What you're saying is this? This was a pump, and this was just a returning
look,
to
on
value.
the way up, when sometime around just under 100, the word got out that Peter Thiel was one of the big investors behind it, and that's when it went absolutely crazy to 300. And if you remember, we called it 100 on the first end, 200, and then 300 on the actual day it happened. And I went out briefly, and by the time I came back, it had already hit 300 and was on the way down. We put our sell in at 280 on that. Incidentally, short, that is, selling short. Mm-hmm. Incidentally, BYND is a sort of a similar kind of a deal.
We're talking Bed Bath and Beyond, or
no, the meat.
Oh, Beyond Meat. Yeah. Hey, how come I'm not seeing?
It's actually a bit of a copy of that Tilray. Look at it, because notice how it sort of hung around in this 160 after the first break.
Yeah, it's fill this gap.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, why haven't I seen any fast food places pop up offering the Beyond Meat or the Impossible? I think Burger King uses the Impossible meat, right? What's that company called? Or maybe it is the Beyond Meat, and maybe they call it the Impossible Whopper. But I've seen they've got commercials on TV now. I guess it's in all the Burger King locations, and people repeatedly saying on TV that it tastes just like the original Whopper. And that's right, they have it over here by where I live, and I saw one the other day. I think my wife and I noticed that it was more expensive than the actual meat burger. The plant-based burger was. So I'm just, I actually went so far as I logged into the City of Phoenix website the other day to see what permits were required for food vending, on the sidewalks, sporting events, parades, or just in general. And it's not a simple task to set up one of these, but it certainly can be done. I mean, if you're driving down the road and you could buy one of these Impossible Burgers beside the road, which could lead to opening, a little restaurant. The thing is you don't want to set something like that in motion, and you're working really hard, and you're enjoying great success, and then all of a sudden, across the street breaks ground, some huge franchise is coming in, because let's face it, if you want fast food, there's no place really to get healthy fast food. And they say this Beyond Meat burger is really not that healthy. But it gives the impression of being healthy.
Wayne, can you put J-Nug and Nugget up? They look like they might be bottoming here.
Any thoughts on my question, John?
Sorry, I missed that last piece.
Yeah, I wonder why no one is opening up fast food restaurants that offer healthy food.
I think it's a bit early for that.
No. I'm not talking about just the meatless burger. I'm talking about healthy fast food. Why has no one attacked that sector?
I think there's quite a few places that do that.
Where can you go and just drive through, and the same amount of time it takes to get a Big Mac and fries, you actually get something healthy that tastes good? I don't have that. I live in a major metropolitan area, and I don't have that anywhere near me.
Somebody told me about a chain nearby. You got to find out where it is. See what they're up to.
Okay.
Kind of health food chain.
All right, there's the J-Nug.
Yeah, it actually looks a little bit better on my chart, but it does appear to be making
Are you on the daily chart?
Possible double bottom here. Yeah.
Well, they should be the same. This is real-time data.
Yeah, if it were to hold here, and it's starting to, it just looks like there's a bit of buying starting to come in here. And if you could look at the Nugget and UGT.
There you go.
Yeah, sort of the same thing. There's a chance it could go down a little bit lower, and I think we talked about the gold going down to 1460 possibly, or 50. But and the worst case, I guess, is if we go down and touch the top of this previous peak. If you just pull it back up a little bit.
Our lowest weekly zone on gold this week is 1465/66.
Yeah, see that peak there?
Which one?
Back in early in the year, at $24 with a gap. Could possibly
early this year?
Yeah, but in terms of, if it would, and there's nothing more bullish than a really good double bottom in a bull market. So if we did get down to close to 24 and then turned, this thing could really rip higher from here. So it would really have to, because it would be important to the whole thing,
Gotcha. Okay, what else?
No, listen, I think we covered it all today.
Right,
so
thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Yeah, you too. All the
Talk
best.
to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okie doke. We're going to go back to the S&P where we left off. There we go. Again, these are this week's zones. So Sunday night, Globex open, 6 p.m. Eastern, and that's when we crank up. Concierge, Logic 247, Live training room doesn't open until Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, but we're in the Telegram channel, 6 p.m. Eastern, Sunday night. It's doing what we do, and you're invited to join us. All right, so we open into a zone, consolidation, leg, a retracement, back to the zone. Zones are an area, just like fibs. Yes, fibs print an exact decimal point on your chart, so do the zones, but they're still an area because we get accustomed to price turning right at a zone like this, and like this, and like this. But always remember, if you become a partner, you become a passport holder. Just know that can happen. That's only 2 ticks away. Now, if you were short this move and you had your target at 29.89 and you walked away from the chart, you never got filled. So think about that. Even though the zone is the trade to target, always build in a little bit of a buffer, okay? And you can determine for yourself in what market, how much of a buffer you want to build in. If you take a look at the alerts and Concierge, I'm usually building in a buffer of, on the S&P, given current volatility, at least about 2 points. Okay. Sometimes if it's a small range between the zones, maybe 1 point. Okay. So our first, well, let's just go through this. We hit the zone overhead. Price is always trying to go somewhere. And because of the zones, because of the framework that the zones provide for our traders in the markets that we cover, we can say that we not only know that price is trying to go somewhere, we have a real good idea where it's trying to go. So when it gets to the zone, consolidates again, right? Consolidation, leg, retracement, rejection, leg, consolidation, leg, retracement, right to the zone, right on the nose, 301. And this pullback, and then the leg, up to the zone at 3012/13, where we consolidate for, 2, 4, 6, 8, about 6 hours. Okay. Now, when price can't get through a zone, 6 hours, the market consolidated, making up its mind, inventorying order flow. What do I got? What do I got? More buyers, more sellers. What do I got? Well, in this candle, the market figured out there was more sellers and buyers. Down we go. If you've ever played that little video game, the Mario Brothers, when he gets to a door, on the one game I used to watch my son play it, and he can't get through that door. So think of him climbing upstairs. He gets to a door. He rattles the door. He shakes the door. He pounds furiously on the door with his little Mario fist. And when the door won't open, what's a Mario going to do? Back to support. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. Now, I can't stress this enough. Our partners and passport holders had these numbers in their inbox yesterday morning, Monday, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and available in the private Telegram channel. Ask yourself if having this kind of information before Wall Street even opens on Monday, before the week is underway, would having this kind of information complement what you already do? And if you don't have something that you already do, and you're looking for something to do, we have a full-blown training program, our indicators, group training every day for 2 hours, one-on-one mentoring as you need it, the concierge alerts, the Logic 247 alerts. The difference between the two, concierge is a static report issued shortly after the Globex open, good for the entire session. Logic 247 are dynamic in the moment alerts. They could come out, one could come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. It's dictated by opportunity. Whenever opportunity develops in any of the markets that we cover, that's when your phone or your computer or your tablet's going to go dee-dee-dee, and you're going to look. I really don't want you trading alerts just because they're alerts. I know some people do, and it's, it's your product. You can do with it as you will once you pay for it. But the goal here is not to just be an alert service. The goal is to teach you how to trade. It has been since day one. It's what Michael and I have been striving for, is to teach you how to trade. The alerts, okay, that's to speed up the process of learning, to give you live, real-time examples of opportunity as it develops, so you train your eye to recognize it, so that at some point the alert doesn't wake you out of a slumber, but the alert serves to confirm what you already saw in your chart. And when that happens, that's a beautiful thing. Now, let's do this. I'm going to put the logic alert up for last night, or the concierge. In fact, let me give you a screenshot. If you're ready, take a shot. 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Globex opens at 6 p.m. Eastern. I try to get them out as soon after the open as I can. I really work hard to get them out before 9 p.m. Eastern. Now, these numbers are good the entire session. Okay, it's not a one-shot wonder. They're good actually until the next set come out the following evening. Okay. So last night we said to consider being long 3008 or short 2997. And we can see that that never came into play. But this is how we teach our traders. Put a line in the sand. Okay. So let's see. That was 7:45, so that's going to be 19:45. So that's going to be the 1930 candle. Right there, that little red candle. That's when the Concierge Trade Alerts hit the street last night. And important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Okay, all right. CTA 3008. Okay. The target 3012. If you build in a buffer, 3011. Okay. The trade to target is always, if it's a long, the trade to target is always the zone overhead. If it's a short, target is always the zone below. Trading is not easy, but man, we do everything we can, everything we know how to do to help make it simple for you. Because we know it's hard. Because whatever it is you're going through right now, you may feel alone, like you're the only person in the world that's ever had to deal with this, but many more have come before you and suffered before you, and we're just trying to show you a better way, a simpler way. Okay. Bruce commented on my healthy fast food thing. Some of the salad bars are okay. We have one here called Super Salad. There's only a couple in the valley, and we do eat there occasionally, Bruce, and sometimes better than other times. It's borders on cafeteria food, I feel like, but it's a dine-in restaurant. I'm talking about the place where, you can pull up, talk to the man in the little box there or the lady, all that squawking and stuff. But 3 minutes later, You've got a meal in your hand in a bag or whatever, and you're driving down the road trying to eat your sandwich when you should be focusing on driving, eating your sandwich and texting and making a phone call. We got to stop that. Okay. All right. So we trigger at 3008. We go to the target. That's 4 points. S&P pays $50 per point. So that's a $200 per contract move. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, as we define it in our 2420 blueprint, that's a $2,000 move. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, okay? Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So back we come to the zone below. Good support, rejection. Remember, only three things happen at a weekly trading zone: consolidation, rejection, and the slice. Okay. Now, this slice did not behave the way a slice typically behaves. When price slices through a zone on our 30-minute chart, when it slices through a zone like it's not even there, when the move runs out of steam, as it did here, at a zone, we anticipate a retracement back to the zone it sliced through, and then we are looking for a move in the direction of the slice. Didn't get that this time. You can't know the future. You can know what the next high probability move is, and it doesn't always do the next high probability thing. The market can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, however it wants. While you can know the next high probability move, you got to remind yourself you're not God. You can't know the future. He didn't create us that way. And so nothing we create by our own hands will be able to do that either. Did you ever think of that? You should. Okay. Now, so 4-point move. Back below the trigger, 4-point move. Back below the trigger, 4-point move. 200 per contract, 200 per contract, 200 per contract. Okay. This isn't unusual. This isn't a one-off. This isn't an anomaly. It happens over and over and over, day after day after day after day. Okay. One, two, three. Beautiful opportunities off the same number. Remember, I said the numbers are good for the entire session. Okay. Now, with Logic 247, that's the dynamic in the moment as opportunity develops alert. When that points at a number similar to the concierge, same important price, important area, now that really deserves a second look. Now, I'm going to jump over. Hey, Tim, Chipotle. Honestly, I don't like their food. My wife loves it. My son loves it. My daughter, she'll eat anything. But yeah, and I don't know if they do drive-through or not. Don't know why they wouldn't. But anyway, I just want to take a quick look here at Logic. You know, since I'm going to jump back and forth for just on a couple markets just to show you. Let me bring you up to speed on Logic for this week. Oh, and thanks again to our friend over at, our new friend over at FeedSpot blog, who yesterday emailed us, and those fine folks have included us as one of the top 20 futures and trading blogs and websites to follow. I think we came in at number 7. There's Daniels. We know those folks. Ninja, we know those folks. Who we got on this list? Inside Futures. We published there for years. Daniels Trading. I'm not familiar with Optimus. I've heard of them, but I just never done business with them. We all know Ninja. Tradicity. Okay. I've heard of them. Earned a Trade. Heard of it. That might be a newcomer. I don't know. Price. Yeah, we're at number 8. That'd be us. Okay. Anyway, thank you folks for including us. Okay. So, the reason I jumped over to this Telegram channel so that I could give you a recap of what's happened this week with Logic. You got to remember, Concierge and Logic, 2 different things. But when they both point at the same price, same area, you really want to give that a second look. Okay? So here we go. So far this week, as of 11:30 a.m. Eastern today, we start Sunday night, 6 p.m. We've issued 21 alerts. 16 have found their target. 4 haven't triggered. And 0% stopped out so far this week. Now, we average over the past, because we're in week 64, over the past year plus, we've averaged 20%. We've had weeks of 0, we've had weeks of 10, we've had weeks of 14, and we just had a week, I think, of like some ungodly number, like 30, 34, I forget what it was. But we know the pendulum swings both ways, and that's why they call it an average. Okay? So far this week, we don't expect it to be that every day. I don't even strive for that. You know, I don't gnash my teeth. I don't wail or gnash my teeth when alerts get stopped out, because the truth about trading, the real truth, the actual truth, is that you will get stopped out. No man, machine, algorithm, or whatever is going to prevent that. Not legitimately. Okay? Okay. Because if somebody tells you that they've defied God and they never get stopped out because they do know the future, wow. Be careful. Keep your hand on your wallet. Somebody's more interested in your money than you are. Okay. So I'm heading to the Telegram channel. Here we go. All right. So last night, that would have been the 21st. Consider me long. Did I not have a long on the ES? Oh, there it is. Okay. The Logic 247 alert that corresponds with that would be here, 3010 to 3012. Okay. And then the last long ES before that, thumbs up means you got to the target. Red X means stopped out. Z's means it never triggered. Okay, so if I back up to the previous one, it was 29.97 to 29.99. So we covered that yesterday. Okay, this little move here. So we had a Concierge at 3008 up to 3012. We had a Logic 247 at 3010. That's in the moment, dynamic as it's happening. Boom. When they both point you at the same price, same area, give it a second look. And don't trade it just because it's alert. Don't trade it just because it shows up in both places. Go look at the chart. Understand why it's an alert. It should line up with everything that Michael tries to teach you, everything that I try to teach you. And if it doesn't make sense, if you don't see the trade, I mean, you see the chart, you see the candles, you see the number, but you don't see the trade, you know, you should probably pass. You know, snap a picture, write it down, journal, and then when we have our next one-on-one mentoring session, because our passport holders and partners have access to one-on-one mentoring, unlimited. When you need help, we're there. You just go on our website, book the session, there we are. You and me, or you and Michael, in a private go-to meeting where you don't have to type in your questions. We open up your mic, you can ask questions, we give you an answer, we look at charts, You can look at my charts, I can look at your charts, whatever you want to do, whatever it takes to help you see clearly the thing that we're trying to teach you, okay? So before we leave this chart, and then I'm just going to fly through the rest of them. I did all the heavy explaining on this one. I just want to add one more element, okay? If you're on the trial this week, if you have not installed these indicators, you should, because you're missing a huge part of the trial. If you're not on the trial yet, we're doing a week-long thing. There's still a couple days to go. eminitrainingschool.com. I trust they're going to get that page working, okay? eminitrainingschool.com. Name, email address, boom, you're in like Flynn. You could be receiving Logic 247 alerts within the hour. You'll get the Concierge Trade Alerts tonight along with everybody else when they come out. The only thing that's preventing you from having this powerful information on your desktop this week is you haven't gone to eminitrainingschool.com and signed up for the trial. There's no credit card required. And if that page is still down, call Valerie. She's a very nice lady. 949-42-EMINI. She'll get you set up, squared away. Or you can email her, support@cfrn.net. Okay. Green line, we call that, because you got to give stuff a name, BBC. Well, what does that mean? Bull Bear Cross. Well, what does that mean? Simple. If price is below that green line, we anticipate lower prices. Until price gets above the green line, and then we anticipate higher prices. Until price gets back below the green line, and then we anticipate lower prices until price gets back above it, and then you got it. Trading's not easy, but as I said, we've done everything we can to make it as simple as possible. We didn't stumble into simple. Michael and I were two of the most complicated, convoluted traders you ever laid eyes on back in late 2005, early 2006. Between the two of us, we had every indicator and oscillator and thingamajig that man ever created. And we even created some of our own stuff. But it was an act of futility, because it always seemed if we just had one more thing, just one more filter, man, we'd be golden. We could write our own ticket. But that's the problem, is we were always one click away. No matter how many filters or anything else that we added, just couldn't do it. It wasn't happening. So we had to go the opposite direction. Take stuff away. Take away, take away. Until we got down to the market. We could see price again. Wow. It's been a while. And out of that, the phoenix rose from its ashes. And it's pretty slick. Bullish cross. Price pulls away. Price pulls back. Price always reverts to the mean. And in our case, the mean is the BBC. When the market puts in a leg, it's going to retrace to the BBC. And it's going to put in a leg, and it's going to retrace. And it's going to put in a leg, and it's going to retrace. When it pulls back to the BBC, one of two things is going to happen. It's going to hold. It's going to hold. Or it's not going to hold. Here's a fun fact. It holds more often than it doesn't. See on this pullback here from below, what did it do? It held. Held for a minute, 30 minutes to be exact. Actually 60. And then it didn't. See? Everything we do is logical. If you listen and then ask good questions, you'll never be walking around wondering why. That big question mark over your head will go away. There's no illusion here. There's no sleight of hand, no parlor tricks. There's a logical reason for everything that we do. Everything that I show you, everything I try to teach you, the same with Michael. It's all very logical. It's the truth about markets. Okay? All right. So once price gets above the BBC, well, when it gets below, what do we expect? Lower prices until it isn't. But when we get below, there's a trade to target. And then when we get back above, there's a trade to target. Well, wait a minute. Are you trying to say that when price closed back above the BBC, a person could have gotten long at $29.95 and reasonably expected the price to go up to $3,000? Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm saying. And then when it pulled back to the BBC and the BBC held, because it holds more often than it doesn't, target overhead, 3,000. Consolidation. We expect resistance when we approach from below. Either after this consolidation period, we're going to get turned down and sent back to the zone below, or we're going to pass muster, and now we're cooking up towards the zone overhead. Okay? As long as price stays above the green line, we're looking to the next zone overhead. And when price gets below, man, we're looking for that zone below. Back above, zone above. Back below, coming up here. Now, see right here, we got back to the BBC. We got below that triggered, made another run. 3 of them in a row. This is the third one, right? We held here because that red candle, even though it closed below the BBC, it's still attached. It's still touching it. Okay? All right. As long as price stays above, higher prices. If it closes below, now how about that? How about every time you look at a chart, you understand what price is trying to do, because price is always trying to go somewhere. So you begin to get that revelation written on the tablet of your heart, and you say, okay, if it's always trying to go somewhere, man, if I just knew where it was trying to go. EminiTrainingschool.com 949-42 Emini. Okay, these are all current weekly zones. I've never done this before. Break them out beginning of the week for everybody. I leak a few out usually in the week, and then everybody gets them on Thursday. But special treat for all the world. Invite your friends. Okay. All right. Here's the Dow. Now the Dow's been behaving a little oddly this week. When we opened Sunday night for Globex trading, the Dow was trying to get to a zone below while the S&P was trying to get to a zone overhead. That's very unusual. These two tend to trend in the same direction. Okay. Now the Dow's back on board with the S&P, both trying to get higher. But as we just saw, the S&P is at critical resistance. Weekly zone overhead, right? Is it possible this thing just kind of, does what it's been doing here while the Dow catches up? I think that's a real possibility. Okay. So on the 20th, that's right there. That's our Globex Open. And again, I'm just going to cruise through these. That's a Sunday night Globex Open, and the alerts came out last night at 19:45. So that's going to be that little red candle right there. And the alert said, go back to that channel. Here we go. Consider being long, 26810. So on the very next candle, it's 26810. Okay, it's pretty close. So from 810 to the target overhead, which is the zone, see what happened? Look at how many hours price consolidated in that little 1 point, or the little 5 point on the Dow area. You with me? Partners and passport holders, they knew that that was a trade to target yesterday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so from, what was it, from 10 to 35, that's 25 points, okay, $5 a point, $125 per contract traded. And if you've earned the right to trade 10, of course, you can do the math. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Back below the trigger, off we go again. Back below the trigger, off we go again. Back below the trigger, off we go again. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can even argue 5. Okay. And then the 12 o'clock candle today, 12 to 12:30 Eastern, we finally broke through. Remember, when we approach a zone from below, we expect it to be good resistance, good resistance, good resistance, good, until it isn't. That's simple. Okay. The flip side of the Dow was 26,760. Okay. And this is what we teach you to do every night. Put these lines in the sand. Put them on your chart. Understand that everything between the lines is price trying to make up its mind what it's going to do. Okay. Now, if I throw this on, okay. We're blue and climbing, right? Prices above the BBC. Boom. Good stuff. Here, we're coming out of a bear. This happened during a bearish cross. So if you passed on this one or passed on this one, understandable. But this one, actually, you're blue and climbing on both of those. You're coming from below the BBC here, and right here, you're just I don't know what else to say. Now, I know for most people, it's just another chart. Move on. I got to tell you, every one of these charts to me is unique. It's special. I could spend an afternoon strolling through an art gallery. That sounds weird, but hey, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is it not? I think somebody important said that. Either God or Shakespeare. I don't remember. Okay, Sunday night Globex open over here. Last night on the Russell, consider being long 1565. And we've not seen 1565. Consider being short 1542. We've not seen 1542. There was logic on the Russell, but no concierge triggers last night. Gold. Last night on gold. Consider being long 1501. No trigger there. Short 1484. The swing low was 1484 on the nose. And that's not unusual to see price march right up to a trigger and turn around. Okay. NQ. On the NQ last night, consider being a long 79.65. 79.65. So that's up here. 79.65. Okay. Swing high, 79. So from 65 to 75. So that's 14. That's a $280 per contract move. The NQ pays $20 per point at 14 points, $280 per contract traded. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So we get back below the trigger, we go back to the zone below, we expect that to be good support. Just like we expect this to be good resistance until it isn't, we expect this to be good support until it isn't. It was good support, it held. Notice these candles are all still touching the zone. We close back above it, off we go, and this time we hit 88. So that would be 65 to 85 would be 20. We'll round it at that. $400 per contract traded. Actually another $80 on top of that. Okay. Back below the trigger, the slice. Now this is what the slice, this is the behavior that we anticipate with the slice. On the other one I showed you, as I said, it didn't do what we expect it to do. What we anticipate, what the high probability thing is, we've learned. So when we slice a zone like it's not even there, we expect price, when that slice runs out of steam, we expect price to, in this case, pull up to the zone it sliced through, because it was supposed to be good support like it was here. If it failed to be good support, the question becomes, well, will it be good resistance? Pull up, good resistance, continue in the direction of the slice. The short side on the NQ was 79.15. We haven't got there yet, but we might. Everything in between the lines is the market making up its mind. Price gets above the BBC, there's your trade to target. Price gets above, there's your trade to target. Sometimes the market doesn't do the high probability thing. That's why it's the high probability thing. That's why we don't say we know the future, because we don't, to being honest. Nor does anyone else. I'll leave it up to them whether they want to be honest with you or not. Get back below, trade to target. Back above, trade to target. But we didn't get there. Back below, trade to target. Now, based on where we sit right here, right now, we've got a trigger below. We've got a trade to target below. If price triggers on the short side, and if that happens, that would be the NQ leading to the downside. There is no one market that always leads. Would be nice, but not the case. Okay. So if we trigger, the trade to target will be the zone. And the S&P hasn't turned down yet. The Dow hasn't turned down yet. The Russell hasn't turned down yet. So, what about this NQ? We're going to watch it very closely, because if it triggers and starts making a beeline for the target, I'm going to watch for those other indices to make their turn. And all you got to do is open your Telegram, because it'll be going dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee, because there will be alerts. And those alerts are yours by going to eminitrainingschool.com or calling Valerie at 949-42 emini. Okay? All right. Time now for our good word for the day. Ready for that? I am. I heard you might. I might, but I haven't decided yet. Okay. I said good word for the day. Let me get my notes. Come on. Yesterday. Do you remember what we talked about yesterday? Yesterday we talked about God will take care of you. And if he lives inside of you, why wouldn't he take care of you? There's food for thought. Today, come on, notes. There we go. We've talked a few times in the past few weeks about worship. And see, I grew up in a very different kind of church than I attend today. Pentecostal holiness. Spirit-filled. We're a spirit-filled church today. But the music's different, and the gifts, from tongues to prophecy, it's the same Spirit, it's the same God, it's the same thing you saw in the book of Acts. It just looks different. It sounds different. When you worship, I believe that you're doing spiritual battle. 2 Chronicles 20:21. He appointed those who should sing to the Lord. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed those who should sing to the Lord and who should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army and were saying, "Praise the Lord, for his mercy endures forever." That's scripture, and also a great line from a great song. Worship is a powerful weapon, one that can turn the battle in your favor. When King Jehoshaphat faced the combined might of 3 different armies, he knew he was no match for them. So he turned to God, saying, "We have no power against this great multitude that is coming against us, nor do we know what to do. But our eyes are upon you, God." That's 2 Chronicles 20, verse 12. Now, here's how God answered him. In 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15. "Do not be afraid nor dismayed because of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's." Really? Really? Then God gave him an amazing strategy for victory. He told him to put a choir in front of his army and go into battle singing the praises of God. Can you imagine trying to explain that to somebody who didn't know what was going on? You'd be sent to a psychiatrist, and that'd probably be one of the better outcomes. But Jehoshaphat, he just did it. There's 2 kinds of people. Well, there's probably more than 2, but for this example, I'll use 2. There are those who hear from God and just do it. And there are those who hear from God and agonize over it. Go seek out wise men to give you counsel. Do you realize? I realize, and it just floors me every day. When my wife and I decided to join forces with this interesting African man that we met on a Wednesday night, minding our own business, just going to church. Long story, won't drag you through it. That night, there was a spiritual battle going on. My wife and I made a decision that night to join forces with this man we'd never laid eyes on before that night. 20 years later, New Hope Orphanage and School in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, sprawls over 20 plus acres and is a home to over 700 children who lost their parents to the deadly ravages of AIDS. If my wife and I had gone to any wise person for counsel, that wise person would have said, "Friend, your heart's in the right place, but you don't have the education. You don't have the money. You don't have the pedigree or the strategy or the connections." And that's true, we didn't. But what we did have, we had the God of the heaven and earth the God of creation, the one who put breath in our bodies, speaking to both of us at the same time so loudly we could not ignore him. All we could do is nod our heads and say, yes, Lord, yes. We're going to do this. Did friends and family think we'd lost our mind? Yes. Did they cast aspersions? Yes. Did they worry about us? Probably. But once they saw the hand of God beginning to actually move, when they saw an orphanage rise up out of that African plain, when they saw not only children begin to flock there, but as we labored and built and prayed and built and labored and built, other people started to flock there. Big churches, small churches, believers, even non-believers. See, there's a lot of non-believers out there involved in all sorts of humanitarian work. We became a light on a hill. But again, had we asked those we knew, the ones we considered to be our wise counsel, if they thought this was a good idea. God spoke to us and said that we should help this man, build an orphanage in Africa. Who in their right mind would have signed off on that? Nobody. We were just intellectually poor enough and spiritually rich enough to say, yes, Lord, that's what you want done. We're going to do it. We know how we're going to do it. Because all the stuff I mentioned about the education and the money, and yeah, we're in dire straits. But when God sends you, he's going to equip you. And if you think you've been sent, but yet you haven't been equipped, you might go back and just talk with him again. Sometimes we can miss him. But that night was spot on. That night changed the lives of generations forever. And I'll never cease to be amazed that God in his infinite wisdom would choose the likes of me to be his middleman in any transaction, much less a transaction that would affect the lives of thousands for generations. Jehoshaphat, he was the same. It didn't make sense, but God said do it, so he said okay. He said, yes, Lord. He appointed those who should sing to the Lord and who should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army. And if that blows your mind, when they began to sing and to praise, the Lord set ambushes against the people of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Judah, and they were defeated. You can read about that in 2 Chronicles 20, verse 22. Instead of attacking Judah, the three armies attacked one another. Israel never fired a shot, never took a casualty. And then it took them 3 days to gather the spoils. So when you're in a battle that you know you can't win, not on your own anyway, I want you to just begin to praise God. Lift your voice, lift your hand. I don't care if you can't sing. God gave you that voice, he loves it. You lift your voice, you lift your hands, you lift your heart. And the forces of heaven will come to your rescue. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.